Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Leafs Convo podcast for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. It is late Monday evening, February 15th, 2021. We weren't going to do a show until tomorrow, but we had to do it tonight. We were thinking, let's talk about the Alex Galchenyuk trade. And of course, he's a bit of a journeyman now. How does he fit into the big picture? And then the Leafs give up 5 unanswered goals to the bloody Senators and lose 6-5 in overtime. Michael, I'm sorry to drag you into this.
Good evening, Norm. Honestly, this is a flashback to last season because we
Yeah.
had those situations where the Leafs would have this, I'd say, brain cramp that would last, 5, 6, 7 minutes, and that would kill them. And in this instance, it came when
Mm-hmm.
they were leading 5-1, gave up a shorthanded goal, gave up basically another shorthanded goal with the guy coming out of the penalty box. 4 minute double minor on a Zach Hyman high stick, kill that off rather effectively, but then give up a Connor Brown goal after the kill, just basically sucking the life out of the team if they were going to have any kind of emotional pickup after killing off a double minor, and then give up a late goal like they did against Montreal to lose a point and then go into overtime. And I think, had the majority of the chances, or at least they were going back and forth in overtime, but then Dadnoff gets the overtime winner. I mean, it's we know that Ottawa works themselves up to play the Leafs. It's the
Sure.
Battle of Ontario. It's the bad team playing against the good team. That's always the dynamic. But when you're a good team, you step on these teams' neck and
Mm-hmm.
you kill them. And again, this team, in spite of some good efforts from some good players, Thornton had 2 points. Marner and Matthews are really good. I'm putting an APB out on William Nylander and John Tavares because Zach
Yeah.
Hyman didn't help infuse that line with any kind of energy. And, Freddie Anderson was pedestrian. He was okay,
Yeah.
but he didn't make the big save when they needed. And honestly, for this team to be what they need to be and to satisfy the want of the Leaf fans for them to be successful in the postseason, this is an example of why some people are still skeptical.
He was so hesitant on that final play. I think he should have challenged for that puck. That's not his game. But
Mm-mm.
I knew that Dadanoff getting that puck on his stick with a bit of time and Anderson regressing into his net, game over. And it was. He should have challenged for that puck, tried to poke check it, redirect it, do something, because all of his guys were behind the play. That was pretty much the game right there. Uh, he was pedestrian. You can't blame that final play on him. But out of desperation, I think he should have attempted to connect with that puck before Dadanoff did. He didn't. And the Leafs have lost 2 games in a row. A third period, they fell asleep against the Habs. And then it was just dog shit in the third period versus the Senators. Doesn't this sound bizarre, Mike? Let's hope the Leafs can get one back from the Sens on Wednesday. What?
Well, I mean, but you see, this is, you could expect this. Like the Senators worked themselves up for 2 teams, Montreal and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
They came off a 2-1 win in Winnipeg on a late goal. And when you're up 5-1, I think you could just see a collective easing off the gas pedal. Even Sheldon Keefe said, he thought that the signs were showing even when they were up 5-1. He says at 5-2, it was the worst 5-2 lead in terms of how he felt about the way the team was playing that he could ever remember. So it's like, in spite of the fact that they were up 3 goals, he didn't feel good about it. But this is the thing. This team supposedly is improved defensively. I don't know where that is based on tonight because, when you're a better defensive team, you don't blow a 5-1 lead.
Joe Prevera on Twitter sending me a picture of Morgan Riley with a pylon on his head. Morgan Riley, he's the ace back there, is he not? So he's going to bear the brunt of the criticism, and he didn't look good in those final moments.
Well, I mean, I'm okay. I'm not going to scapegoat one particular player. Like I said, there were enough passengers tonight. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah,
missing persons report out for John Tavares and Nylander. That second line was not good at all. I didn't, you got a goal out of the third line, you got a goal out of the fourth line, and you still lose. That's
yeah.
where I think this rests, is that this team got production from three of their four lines. They're, the league's best goal scorer, Potts, too. Joe Thornton comes back from missing 10 games and has a goal and an assist, and you still lose.
Yeah, that was that was a complete falling apart, a complete effort by the complete group. It would be nice for William Nylander to show up when the chips are down, but when this team is riding high and he's not getting points, it really doesn't seem to matter. John Tavares, on the other hand, is paid a shit ton of money, and they could use his point per game, no doubt, but we know that there's enough firepower on this team that guys like that can take nights off, and it's not going to have that great of an effect. However, when you blow back-to-back games by falling asleep and then just falling apart in the third period, and these guys are still slumping, it exacerbates the situations. This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford, Norm, and Mike. Alex Galchenyuk. What happened to this guy? He was a senator and then a hurricane, and now he's a Maple Leaf, and this is over the span of like 3 days. Remember when he was in Montreal, just like most Habs, overblown because he's wearing Les Rats uniform? But he was good. I mean, he was heralded coming out of this Sarnia Sting. We did a ton of stuff with him when I worked on the local TV channel. What happened to this guy, and how does he happen to affect the Leafs in the positive?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think he's the poster child of somebody who was rushed and forced to play a position that he wasn't meant to play. He's not a center. He's never been a center. Montreal drafted him third overall in 2012, and we talked about this on the Buzzcast today, how that top five of that draft, other than Morgan Riley, is a complete and utter bust. Nail Yakupov, first overall. Ryan Murray, who's had an injury-plagued career with Columbus and now is in New Jersey. Galchenyuk, third overall to Montreal, and then Griffin Reinhart, fourth overall. So the Leafs hit the home run in that top five.
Where are they now?
Yeah, but that being the case, I think he was rushed in Montreal. He was looking for bigger money. They decided to move him in the deal for Max Domi, and then basically he's been, shifted from Pittsburgh to Arizona to Pittsburgh to, I mean, it's sort of sad. He's only 26 years old, I believe, and the move is a little puzzling, but I understand it from the Leafs' perspective. He cleared waivers. He's making $1 million, so he doesn't count against the cap. He could go on the taxi squad. Keefe said today, well, he's in the mix for the bottom six. They basically probably want to take a look at him, see, get him sort of situated, and then maybe he gets a chance playing on the fourth line or the third line. Wow. I don't like what the Leafs gave up in the sense that Warshawski is just a minor leaguer. They gave up Igor Korshkov in this deal. Korshkov played well in the AHL last year. He had a goal in his only NHL game. He went back to the KHL because of the AHL being shut down. He's leading Lokomotiv in goal scoring. I think he has an NHL future, but the problem is I don't think the Leafs were ready to guarantee him an NHL spot next year. And I've heard reports that essentially said if he wasn't guaranteed a spot on the Leaf roster, that he wasn't going to come back to North America. So maybe Carolina can guarantee him that spot, but I don't think the Leafs were going to. And essentially then they're trading an asset that is expiring in a way to get a guy who might help them in a depth position this year.
As if Sheldon Keefe doesn't have his work cut out for him, trying to psychologically get his team to bounce back from these back-to-back disasters. Now he's got a guy who's been wandering the wilderness, who probably needs a kick in the ass, who's probably, would be best served as a passenger on this team in his own mind, having to come into a situation where he should probably contribute if he wants to keep his NHL career going. Sheldon Keefe, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about him being lackadaisical with this group, or just allowing guys like Nylander to float around. And we know that's not the case, but the heat will start to filter towards Mr. Keefe if this turns into something that is prolonged. And with all this talent the Leafs have, really, they shouldn't be in that kind of position. Last word to you.
Yeah, I don't think the Heat is really. I mean, in spite of the Twitterverse, expressing their dismay.
I was on tonight, Mike. I was on tonight, and I've been overtaken by social media. I was on for 10 years, then quit, and I was back tonight because I was excited about podcasting this evening. Didn't think the Leafs would blow a fucking 5-1 lead, but they did. So anyway,
yeah, but I mean, I don't think. I mean, at the end of the game, after the game, the veterans like Thornton, veterans like Riley, basically said, it sucks the way we played, but we're going to move on and move forward and sort of wipe the slate clean and get ready for Wednesday. And that's the mindset that they really have. They can't think about, what they did in this game. I mean, yes, remember the negative in terms of, okay, we can't do that again, but really they can't be devastated by this loss. They have to move on and put a better effort and take advantage of a team that is last place in the division. And hopefully on Wednesday they'll do that.
The fragility of this team is still a concern, Mike. Up 5-1 with 9 seconds to go in the second period. You give up a shorthanded goal, and the house of cards collapses.
Yeah, it's a reality until they shake that perception off. It's always going to pop back in the minds of Leaf fans.
OG's Converse, thanks for joining us tonight. Have your say below this post on the YouTube channel, or you can get at us in community. I'll come up with some kind of poll. Have a good one, Mike.
Thanks.